Oh my God, what a way to start the weekend.
Oh no, it's manic. Before we carry on, can we just remind Ethan to tag Joe, please? And Joe, if you can tag Ethan, that'd be great.
Them tunes, mate. I'm ready to leave the live now. Go get a beer. Crack on my weekend, mate.
Well,
You've got the second best theme tune. You've got the second best theme tune, which is incredible. Hold on.
You've done me dirty with the pictures, but you know what? The tune makes up for it. So
I made that myself. You should be happy.
Right, so I've brought you both on. I've got Martin with me and I've got Dave with me. It's the debate show. It's back. It's been a long time. And it's going to be serious. I've had people message me asking for a bit of seriousness, so here we are.
I get it 10 minutes.
Reese has come straight in with a comment, taking no credit from Casper, but he's not better than his old man. No chance. Reese, I've not even got into it yet. Bear with me a second. J-Mum's gone shop, mate.
I've got an interesting thing about this. I'll explain to it later. Because I'm looking at that debate in two ways.
All right. So topics we're going to go through. Is Casper better than his dad? Is VAR the problem? What was the other one?
It was about fans being in attendance.
When will fans be able to come back into stadia? And Martin's subject, from rags to riches, we're going to be talking about the best stories of teams, players, whatever it may be. We'll get into that later. The first one I want to talk about, though, I don't want to talk about the Casper one first. I want to talk about VAR, simply because it's on everyone's mind.
It will be. It's going to be for a while, but it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go 100%. Anywhere.
The thing is, right, I changed it slightly. I tweaked the wording with it. Is VAR the problem? Originally, it was why VAR isn't the problem. I'm a strong believer that VAR is not the problem. There is a solution. I don't want to be so blunt with it because I want to go into detail about it. But basically,
I read what you put the other day, and I thought you were bang on what you said. To be honest,
well,
it should be referees. It should be referees, ex-players.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
I don't want to take the credit from Lewis. Lewis mentioned it as well.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Lewis. He's not quiet. He's just banned from Facebook.
I mean, did you hear about the Liverpool Everton game? The VAR guy was a Man U supporter. You can't be allowing that.
Exactly.
That'd be like having.
Oh, come on, is that facts? Is that a fact or
no? That is fact. Yeah, that's 100% fact. I mean, that is like having Leicester versus Wimbledon or MK Dons in the FA Cup final and having the VAR person from Nottingham. It's a stupid idea. That is 100% fact. Yeah.
But then some referees are like that. They've got affiliation to other clubs with referees have. So it's what cracked me up is them two plonkers the other day, and it showed you them discussing the Leicester Wolves one, and one of them was stood behind the screen. How can you see what's going on behind the screen? And that was going on while that decision was being made. What were they doing? What were they doing?
Just to clarify, that video, there was no sound with it. There wasn't no sound with it, was there?
There wasn't, no. So it didn't look very good, though.
Subjectively, we can say that they were talking about that, but we can't factually say that that's what they were talking about.
It didn't look
good.
Is
that not something they could do, though?
Because
in the Australian League, the fans can hear what is being said to the referee and what the referee is saying.
As you can in rugby, and it works fine in rugby. The respect that the refs get in rugby is much more, and I think that is why. Is that something
I believe that's a massive problem. I think if everyone could hear what they were saying, there wouldn't be so much of an issue. But they're not. It's all secretive. It's all secretive. You could see, like I said, going back to just before I went live, that Man City and Liverpool, when you get that penalty, VAR didn't want to make that decision. They left it to the referee. Referee had no choice but to give it. It was handball by the letter of the law, but it was a ridiculous handball. You can't get out of the way. The referee didn't want to give it. If referee doesn't give it,
it's a fact. The fact is, it's a penalty.
It is. But it's one of them where, like I say, you can see the referee didn't want to give it. Probably the same in the Leicester game, the Wolves game. Didn't want to give it. But if they don't give it, they're going to get in trouble by their bosses.
I think the
VAR
handball is one thing,
VAR
but
Yeah, handball
me,
is a separate thing to VAR. Let's get that straight.
VAR for
Handball
me
rule
is
at the
a
minute is-
video assistant referee. So if it's an assistant referee, why can't we hear what that referee's saying to the other referee, to the actual official referee, and then let the official referee make his mind up?
I
Stop
mean,
making
I
decisions
think
for him.
handballs is one thing, but the worst thing it's happening to is offsides. And I think this is applying to every single Premier League team. I know I
again-
watched, obviously, what's
Go
that?
on.
Sorry, Mitch.
No, I disagree. It's the same for me. The same with handball. Offside is offside, and it's the same with handball. Handball is handball.
So if your elbow's offside, then why can you concede a penalty with your elbow? I mean, it's a non-goal scoring area.
You're mixing up two rules now.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's one
You
rule
can
for one and one
concede
for another.
How is it? You can concede a penalty with your elbow because it's a handball. The same as being offside. Like, okay, you can't score a goal with your elbow, but come on,
But they're saying that.
Offside.
I mean, I think it's so petty. I mean, I like the old rule. The old rule, I think it was about 4 years ago. They did it. They only did it for one season where it was offside if there is air between the bodies. If you could
Clear
see
daylight.
a gap of light, clear daylight between the bodies, it was offside.
Clear daylight. Clear daylight.
And I think that's how it should be.
Although, going back long time ago, I think Bill Shankly put it, if you're not, sorry, it was Bill Shankly or Bob Pezzi, I can't remember which one, said, you're on the pitch, so if you're not interfering with play, what are you doing on the pitch? So if it's clear daylight, not clear daylight, you know, the goal scorer is not in offside position, somebody else might be. Now they're saying they're not interfering with play, but technically they are interfering with play because somebody will be watching what that guy's doing.
I mean, Mitch, you say that the VAR things, the people running VAR is not working.
Yeah.
What goal would you say is it not worked for?
It's not even necessarily that, because I feel like the decisions are not actually that bad, really.
So what's the problem with that?
It's the time that it takes. It's the constant. When it was introduced, it was told to us, unless it's clear and obvious. But you see them going over and they're watching it 6, 7, 8 times, and it's never clear and obvious. So why are you changing the original decision?
But why do they do it
in cricket?
Sorry,
in cricket, you have.
I'm just going to say, you took words right out of my mouth. Carry on, Mitch. Sorry,
I forgot now.
No, basically, cricket. You've got 3 things in cricket. What they check for? They check for 3 things.
But
and that's it. They check for
the original.
They check for
the original decision that the umpire gives. If it's not clear and obvious, then they stick with the umpire's decision. That the initial decision is important in cricket. In football, it's not important whatsoever. I'm not saying we should follow the rules of cricket. I'm saying that it should be looked at and become a little bit more clearer. If they're going to say clear and obvious, then it needs to be clear and obvious. It's not.
I mean, I think the FA is proper messed up. I mean, you compare football to rugby, to cricket, and even tennis. Hell, even golf. When it comes to video assistant refereeing, the FA are so far behind, and yet football brings in far more money than any of them.
So it works in Italy, it works in Spain, it's working abroad.
So why isn't it work here? What are those countries doing that we aren't?
They've got proper officials. Listen,
behind the scenes.
Our referees, that this doesn't happen abroad, but you should be held accountable now. If you're making a decision and it's apparently clear for everyone to see, we've got the monitors, we've got the VAR. Why are we not speaking to the referees after the game the same way that we speak to the players, the same way that we speak to the managers, and saying, why was this a penalty? Let them explain why it was a penalty. Why was it not a red card, for example? Why was it a red card? Like these things, they need to be spoken about. They need to be asked. Referees get away with everything.
I think the fans, or not even the fans, but the clubs, the managers, should have a video playback of what the referees say. I mean, whether fans hear it, all right, it affects us, but it affects clubs more. I think at least, like, your managers should at least be able to hear what they're saying.
As fans, as managers, as players, we would have a lot more respect and a lot more, okay, fair enough. If a referee came out after the game and said, look, it was a penalty because A, B, and C, or it wasn't a penalty because for me, it wasn't clear and obvious, like whatever it might be. If a referee is held accountable for, I think we would give them a lot more respect and a lot more.
It's a bit too cloak and dagger, isn't it? It's all like say hiding behind.
I think
other
that's the
people.
problem because
no one's accountable for it. Nobody's accountable for it. You don't want to be.
And I honestly think that's because, not because, but I think the reason that we don't know what's being said or the managers don't know what's said, it then arises suspicion. And when there's suspicion in the game, people are going to talk. People aren't going to like it. And I think that is the problem with VAR at the moment. Some of the decisions, especially, not saying this from a Liverpool fan, but saying this, the Liverpool-Everton game, there was a lot of suspicion in that game about decisions being made.
I think someone just made a comment there. It just made a comment there. I think it might have been Reese about 2-3 minutes ago. What do you think about this? Clubs having 3 appeals, and that's your limit. 3 reviews. There you go. 3 reviews, like cricket. Like I think they do it in tennis. You'll have 3 reviews.
No,
I think it's a bad idea because what if you have 3 reviews and they're wrong, and then you've got the 90th minute, Jamie Vardy's for on goal, he gets completely nailed. The referee don't give it, and yet if they did use VAR, it's a 100% penalty. I think that's why you couldn't do that system.
You couldn't use it in football. Not
too fast moving in, I suppose.
Too
many ramifications.
That's what needs to be done.
I think that's the way forward.
Refs needs to be heard.
I think that's right.
I don't think we're ever going to get into a position where we're talking to the refs after the game through the media, but I really don't see why not. I don't see why they can't be spoken to.
Some referees used to do that, didn't they? A few seasons back, you can remember some referees had the guts and to come out and say, "This is what I did." I
remember David Ellery, I think, was one of them.
Yeah. The referees these days are spineless. They don't want to be accountable. I think mic them all up. Never mind if players are swearing effing and blind, and you can hear that anywhere now with no fans in the stadium. It's expected. All they've got to do is apologise for it, saying if anyone swears, it comes out, we apologise.
Even that would soon stop because players would start losing sponsorship deals left, right, and centre.
Correct. They wouldn't swear. If referee took a bit more sterner thing, saying stop swearing, else I'll book you, and follow it through. And just speak to captains. Speak to the captains. You don't need to talk to the rest of the team. Speak to the captains.
This is why I think the managers should be able to hear what the referees say. And I think if there is a massive thingy, they can always release what they said and mute out all the bad language a few days later so the fans can know what was said.
But then on the pitch, captains. Bring your captain over only. Get all the rest of the players, move them away and get your captains only. To do it in rugby, let the captains go back to the squad and say, you've got to pack this in, lads, or else you're going to get sent off. And it works, mate. You watch rugby, the respect they have for the referees. Yeah. They don't say boo to a goose. And these guys are like 16 stone brick crap houses.
What I will say is refs have become, in England especially, since VAR was introduced, refs have become very lazy.
Cowards.
Yeah.
Cowards, they are.
Do you think they're doing that to be lazy, or do you think they're doing that out of fear of constantly being wrong?
Fear of their jobs from the FA, because if they don't make the right decision, the FA will just drop them for the week after. And let's face it,
they're not making right decisions, are they? They're making more worse decisions.
When there were fans in the ground, and we'll move on to the fans in a bit, but when they had fans in the ground, you'd get the whistles from the fans and all this, and then that might sway them into blowing the whistle. But now they're just like, oh, I don't need to worry about the fans. I'll just do what I want to do, and then if it comes to it, and if I am wrong, so be it. I'll just go and look at the monitor. They really don't care. That's what I feel like it is. It's laziness. They don't care.
But how many times do they actually go to a monitor? How many times have you seen a referee go to a monitor? Not very often. They can't be bothered. They'll just let VAR make a decision.
Jumping the gun a bit there, mate. We haven't got that bit.
That's all they do. Straight to VAR because they can't be bothered even walking to the side of the pitch. It's only recently they've actually seen that. They've actually 2 or 3 referees have gone over and looked at the monitor.
I mean,
they've been told
that
they need to do that.
If they have got an online monitor, what is the point in VAR in the first place? Like the people in the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they?
Referees
what do
should
they
look
do?
at his screen first and say, right, I can't make my mind up here, guys. Be perfectly honest and say, I can't see something. We need to now take to VAR. Not go to VAR first. What's the point in that? What's referee doing?
The same with the linesman now. They're not putting their flag up even though they know it's offside. But they're
that's ridiculous. That winds me right up. That does. Winds me right up. Offside a mile, but they don't put the flag up.
Yeah, I think if it's offside by a mile, then put your flag up. But if there is 1% doubt, don't raise it. And I think that should be the rule. Because, I mean, you look at John Joe Shelby last year for Newcastle when the referee, they put the flag up, didn't he? And Shelby carried on and he scored a goal and he got Newcastle 3 points. And they looked it back on the VAR and even the announcers were like, he's miles offside. And they showed it on VAR and the goal was given because he wasn't actually offside.
But you see some of them, they're horrendous. They're like,
oh, yeah,
I mean?
some of them.
Some of them are horrendous. You just think, why are you even bothering playing on? Why? Why are you bothering letting this guy go score a goal?
4 or 5 minutes before the ball's out of play. And then they'll go and look at decision. It happens with penalties, offsides. And how far back in the play do they go before they say, oh, actually, that one's not a goal because this happened 3-4 minutes ago or whatever.
So how's this going to get resolved then? What's the solution? Because it ain't going nowhere. We've already discussed that. It's not going anywhere. How's it going to get? How's it going to move? How's it going to progress?
I think until fans start costing the FA money by boycotting stuff, nothing will get done. I don't think it will change.
But you know for a fact, as soon as fans are allowed back in the grounds, they're going straight back in.
Oh, 100% they are. I mean,
I feel like the solution is a solution that's not going to happen. It's A, they need to be held accountable for. It's 100%. B, they need a new crop. If your players are underperforming, you get dropped. You bring in new players. If your manager's underperforming, he gets sacked. Whatever it is, referees, I don't know. They go through the motions, and the FA backs them every time.
I mean, some of the offsides are dodgy as well. I mean,
sorry, Dave, Carol. Sorry.
I mean, some of the lines for offsides are very, very, very dodgy. I mean, some of the lines ain't even level to the lines on the box. So either the groundsman's done a diagonal line or VAR's done a diagonal line. And that raises suspicion.
So here's a thought. Mitch just said that it's working in Spain, it's working in Italy. They've got the guys behind the cameras who can do the job properly. Why not fetch them over here? Fetch people behind the cameras and fetch them over here. Let them do our league as well. And then just these people who then rely on their job to do VAR might buck up. Send them on a training course over to Europe and say, right, watch what these guys do. Because you're obviously not getting it right. So
just a quick question for you guys. A quick question. I mean, we slate VAR. I personally hate it. But can you name me 3 decisions it's actually got wrong?
The 2 penalties at the other week.
Do you know what, Dave? I just want to. I'm just going to not answer your question and just say something completely different. Sorry, but I'm just thinking about this in my head now. Do you think a lot of it is because of the English media, how they jump on things and they say, "Oh, it's really bad." Rather, they do it with the players, they do it with managers. Abroad, you don't have that sort of limelight. Do you think it's got anything to do with the media?
Do they make as many blatant mistakes abroad? And yes, the media will jump on it. Of course, our media will, because we all love it. We all love it when VAR gets slagged off. Yeah, they don't make any mistakes abroad, do they?
To be honest, I think for the first time ever, it's not really the media that's been slating VAR. I think it is majority the fans. And I think it started with, if your club, Liverpool, Leicester, whoever, if your club gets done over by a very marginal VAR decision, then you're automatically going to hate that club. You're automatically going to hate the system.
Okay, so just to conclude, VAR for me, it's not the problem. It is the officials.
Yeah,
but we'll get there. We will get there with it eventually. It might be a change of officials. It might be whether they bring in something completely different, like they can be held accountable, whatever it might be. But anyway, the comments, they're asking for it. We'll give it to him. Is Kasper as good as his dad?
No.
I'm going to start this one. I'm actually going to say I think he is as good as his dad.
Big shout.
And the game I thought about this long and hard.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, people are watching, right? I'm not a Leicester fan, as we know. So I'm not being biased. I'll explain my thinking. No, I've been thinking about this. The obvious choice is to go for Peter Schmeichel because he's won more. But look at the journey that Kasper's done. When Peter Schmeichel went to Aston Villa, it was a failure. When he went to Man City, he was a failure. Kasper was a success at every single club he went to, possibly minus Man City. Yes, Schmeichel's won 5 Premier League titles, but so has the substitute goalkeeper. And to be honest, they would have won the title with that substitute goalkeeper in. That's how good Man U were. People say Alisson's not the best keeper in the world because of the defence in front of him. So why is that the case for Alisson, but it's not for Schmeichel?
Well, just before we came live, Andy next door knocked on. He wanted to borrow an HDMI cable because he's knackered there.
Well, tell him he needs to socially distance. He's going against government rules.
So, whatever. We don't mention Fence Club. Can't do that. He put it across as well. He just said, you've got to think, could Peter Schmeichel do it now? And could Kasper do it then?
Well, no, Peter
The answer for me,
50,
I think Kasper probably wouldn't be able to do it back then because it was a more physical game. Now, he's a big lad, Kasper Schmeichel, don't get me wrong, he's a big lad, but as he is commanding in that area, does he come flying out and take man, ball, the whole lot? Does he do what it needs to do? Schmeichel would take anything out the way, including his own defenders, if he had to.
I completely disagree with that. I'm sick to death of hearing people saying, "Oh, defenders were better back then. Oh, strikers were better."
No, they were better.
You know what?
Better.
And people say the game was physical back then. And yes, it was more physical back then, but I don't think it was more physical for the goalkeepers. I think goalkeepers.
Goalkeepers nowadays, you can't breathe on them. If they go over and it's a free kick, goalkeeper, and you could push them into the back of net, and it would be like, that's fine. Carry on.
People kick the ball harder these days because they're fitter. There's better techniques. There's better, there's the training facilities are far better. So the standard of football is better, which means the shots are better. The crosses are better. Anything that a goalkeeper has to deal with is now better due to the standard of training facilities. So the question is, all right, it was more physical back then, but it's technically better now. And as a goalkeeper, you have to be technically sound.
I suppose a goalkeeper nowadays, you need to be able to be a sweeper as well. You need to play back four because that's what they're going to do.
And like I say, Kasper Schmeichel has achieved
what he has done. But
Kasper Schmeichel has achieved so much. If Peter Schmeichel was in goal for that Leicester City side that won the league, would they have won the league?
Yes.
I'm not sure they would have.
Yes. I think we would have done.
Well, anyway, what do you reckon, Mitch? As a Leicester fan, what are you saying here? You got the big daddy.
I think there are certain things that he's better at than Peter ever was. Likewise, I think there's certain things that Peter is better at than Kasper. However, if I was
would you pick?
I don't want to be biased and just say Kasper and not really give a reason for it, but I would have Kasper in my team. I just think the game is completely different now, and I think that makes it harder for Kasper. Not only that, but the team that he's doing it with, he's not doing it in Sir Alex's fucking Man United team, which was incredible. He's doing it for, as a lot of people say, little Leicester.
That's a massive factor, by the way, that Peter Schmeichel, you can't deny he had the quality in front of him and a world-class manager. You can't deny that.
I mean, you don't concede goals. Peter Schmeichel did some blinding saves, but he also made some blinding errors.
He scored one, though.
I was looking at the stats. Yeah, Peter Schmeichel has kept clean sheets in roughly 1 every 3 of his games. Kasper Schmeichel has kept clean sheets. The ratio is a little bit less, but it's very similar. And I just think
it's completely different.
They're almost like for like. I had a quick look before I come on. They had the stats. They both played like 9-10 seasons in Premiership.
Does Kasper Schmeichel
so close in everything?
Does Kasper Schmeichel have a Gary Neville and a Vidic and a Ferdinand?
This is what I'm saying.
At the back.
If you put Peter in this Leicester team now,
I mean he's too old, but
no. Well, obviously, I think it would be good. If Kasper was to play in Peter's team, I think you'd get very similar results. Just a little fact here: Kasper Schmeichel saved more Premier League penalties than his dad ever did. There's a
I know it's not a brilliant picture, but
only 2 goalkeepers have played in a team that have scored 9 goals and kept a clean sheet, and it's both of them.
I mean, Peter was awful for Villa, and he was awful for Man City.
Kasper wasn't great for Man City.
No.
Kasper was about. How old was Kasper Schmeichel at Man City?
Exactly. He's been in the game 15 years now.
Kasper Schmeichel, how old was Kasper when he was there? Yeah, I mean, where do you rank Kasper Schmeichel in the current goalkeepers in the Prem?
Well, he's the best in the Prem.
To be fair,
Mitch, this
to be
is a
fair,
serious debate show.
I'm being serious with you. He's the best in the Prem right now. He's
to
the
be
best.
fair,
No, he's not.
he's
He's not.
Oh, come on. You've got two goalkeepers now that you're going to tell me. One plays for Liverpool and one plays for Man City. You just said a minute ago, Vidic, Ferdinand. Look at the defences that what you're going to say have got. If Casper was in Liverpool's team, you'd have still won the Champions League last season.
Mitch, I said this to Dave. I've had a discussion with Dave about a year or so ago, and I said, why are Liverpool not making a cheeky bid for Casper Schmeichel? Why? We needed a backup goalkeeper at that time. Why have they not even bothered putting a cheeky bid in for him? Because I'll tell you now, he's better than Adrian. He's better than our backup keeper, and he is as good as Alisson on his day. Alisson is made to look good, and he does the difficult. Makes him look easy.
Alisson was the difference is Alisson was world class when he was at Roma. That's why we bought him.
Yeah,
I agree with what Mitch is saying. I do agree with what Mitch is saying, and it goes back to the Casper Peter Schmeichel debate. They've got completely two different defenders. I mean, there's a lot of good goalkeepers in the Premier League. I think Ederson is up there because, let's be honest, for my money, I actually think that Leicester's got a better defence than Man City. I do.
they've got better defence at Liverpool at the moment. We ain't got one.
Yeah, it's just Robertson
come
at the
on,
back against
feel
Leicester.
sorry for Liverpool fans. I've got all these injured players. Every team has got injured players right now.
Just
Every team.
Don't worry. Just fishing out there, mate. Just fishing out.
But honestly, I honestly feel like he's the best in the Prem.
I mean that it's debatable. I don't think it's anything we'll agree on. I've said that I actually think that Alisson is overrated. I don't think he's the world's best keeper. I think he's one of them, but I don't think he's the world's best. For me, the world's best keeper.
Last week, and you lot slated me.
No. I didn't slate her. I do believe that Alisson is
Martin was on
slightly overrated, but I say he's overrated because a lot of people say he's the world's best goalkeeper, which means if you're the second world's best goalkeeper, then you are still overrated because people have said he's the first. So if you're second, you technically classed as overrated. What I will say, I mean, the best goalkeeper in the world for me is Oblak, 100%. Jan Oblak, there's no one even close to him at the moment.
I don't know. I mean,
to be fair though, I'd put Casper. At the minute, I'd put probably Casper as number one in Premier League. I would.
Top three.
What?
I would, honestly, mate. Honestly, mate.
No, Joe's right. Nick Pope is up there.
No.
Again, Dave, Joe Corby just made a comment. Nick Pope has to be up there. And I completely agree he has to be up there. Because stick him in Liverpool, stick him in Man City's team, and he'll do the same job for you.
I think Henderson for Man U. I'm judging on last season's performance. Obviously, we've not seen him this year. And people have 1 year wonders. So I think we need to see Henderson more.
It's a shame he couldn't get a few more minutes last night or a better team.
I mean, I quite like Dubravka from Newcastle. I think he's not bad.
Man,
I'm not saying he's the best.
Yeah,
no, I'm not saying he's the best, but I think he's highly underrated. I think the one thing the Premier League has got is we have got probably 10 top quality keepers.
No, I disagree with that. 10. Half of the teams you're saying are top quality goalkeepers now.
Well, you have to include, are you including Pickford in that lot, or is he in the other?
No. I mean, I think Raul Patricio, fantastic keeper for Wolves, great goalkeeper. Nick Pope, there's two. Alisson, Ederson, Schmeichel, Henderson, De Gea. I think Hugo Lloris is still good. I mean, there's 8 off the top of my head.
He's a Chelsea guy. Mempai, is it Mempai?
Yeah, the Chelsea goalkeeper, the new guy that they've just got in. He looks top. He looks quality.
He looks the business. He can't get better. He can't go worse than the one he took over.
I mean, there's 9 there within 10 seconds. There's 9. I mean, is there any of those keepers I've just said that you wouldn't class as?
Yeah.
You know, who?
I don't want to say because I'm trying to be serious tonight. Anyway, Joe Corby's just put in a comment. Dean Henderson has to be in that Man U team. And this is a debate that I've done actually before.
Whoa. Let's just go back. You said you're trying to be serious, but this is the Mitch Noble show. Say it. You're entitled to your opinion. If people don't agree with your opinion, then that's up to them. But this is what this show's about.
Right, Ederson and Alisson. Both of them, they are in very good teams. Would they be as good at Burnley? Would they be able to do it at Everton?
I think the difference is that Alisson has done it at Roma. I don't know much about Edison's past, so I
Roma's a
can't
good
really
side.
comment.
In that Italian league, Roma's a good side.
But so are Leicester, and that's what you need to remember. You say that Leicester, people need to start thinking of Leicester as a top 6 side, just like Roma was. Leicester aren't a mid-table team anymore. They're not a bottom half team. They're not relegation candidates anymore.
We finished in the top 6 twice. We finished in the top 6.
But you finished there last season, and you're up there this season. And I believe, do you think Leicester will finish top 6 this season?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, in that case, then Leicester City are arguably a top 6 side now.
Answer my question then. Alisson at Burnley.
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be good.
No, I don't think so. Don't think so, mate. He'd get peppered he'd get peppered, mate, and he's
you would not go out and spend 80 million on a player that wouldn't get in a Burnley team.
No, because he
wouldn't do it.
Liverpool's team.
Because if he was going to do that, then Klopp would have signed Nick Pope.
Yeah, but he fits Klopp's style of player, doesn't he? He fits Klopp's style of player. He's a sweeper.
To be number one at Burnley, you have to concentrate 90 minutes of the game, be at the top of your game for 90 minutes. Alisson is very good when it comes to
what? So
those sort of short bursts.
The West Brom. What? So you're saying that the relegation team's goalkeepers are better than the top team's goalkeepers because they've got to do more to do.
I'm saying they're different styles of players.
I think Alisson's ego's getting a little bit in his way as well, to be fair. You look at him sometimes, he walks around that pitch, he struts around, and it's all right being a bit arrogant. But I think sometimes his ego is...
For me, I would have Alisson over Schmeichel.
Pickford for England, where he doesn't have to do much for a game, but he will make the save when required, he's very good at. Pickford for Everton, where he's facing a few more shots, he struggles because it's that constant pressure on him.
But if that's the case, then why is Pickford still playing for England and why is Nick Pope not playing for England? I'm not denying that I personally think Pope is better than Pickford.
Styles, mate. I've just explained that to you. Pickford is very good when it comes to that. He doesn't have to make many saves per game. There's not many shots coming at him, but he'll save the ones that do come at him. If you put him in a side where he's facing a lot more shots, then he struggles. That pressure gets to him over the course of 90 minutes.
Someone's just put here because I'm not going to say the word because it's before 9 o'clock. Mr. Daniel.
Hey, by the way, I'm half an hour in here and I'm not doing really well here.
I'm guessing he's talking about me.
No, I think he's on about the Alisson thing.
Yeah.
It's like, someone says it's like, could Messi do it on a rainy night to Stoke? Yeah, but Lionel Messi can do it on a rainy night every Premier League team he's played. He's scored by Liverpool, he's scored by Man U, he's scored by Chelsea. Who gives a monkeys if he could do it at Stoke?
But switch it. Would he do well at Burnley?
Yeah.
When he's not receiving the service as much?
Messi couldn't do it in this country. He's had his chance. I talk about Messi now.
Mate. Trust me, mate. For Barcelona, I'd score 15 a season because I'm getting that service. This is the debate
between them, innit? Ronaldo and Messi, who's the best? Ronaldo, because he's been and done it. He's done it everywhere. Messi, he's had the chance and he bottles it.
I agree with what Mitch has said because, let's just quickly go to the Pogba one. I think Pogba looked great in that Juventus midfield, but I think any player would have looked good in that Juventus midfield. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Pogba's a bad player, but
he's not.
He's not. He's overrated.
He's a good player. I don't know. He's a good player.
No, he's a good player, but people talk to him like he's world class.
Schmeichel, by the way, we've got a little bit off topic here.
Yeah. Okay. So Schmeichel, for me, there's 3 of us. We'll have a vote. I'm going to go Kasper.
I'll go Peter.
I'm based on what he's achieved, and I don't think Peter would have been able to achieve it if the roles were reversed. I'm going to have to go Kasper.
Okay, so Kasper wins it.
Kasper wins it.
Next topic then. When are fans going to be allowed back into stadium?
The admins are looking at this video now saying Dave and Mitch are agreeing on something.
Winter Park last night going through that hazmat.
Yeah, you're right.
Getting sprayed.
Yeah, that is the way forward. That is the way forward.
But
the thing is, right,
do you need it on the turnstiles or do you set up a perimeter about half a mile away?
No. I'll tell you what they do.
Can you explain to me how that stops the spread of COVID? I don't understand.
What,
I'll tell you what they do.
Going through that spray thing?
Yeah.
It doesn't, but it's a massive, massive step in the right direction. You feel more confident going through a turnstile having been sprayed than not been sprayed, and I think a lot of fans will be scared about going back. Even when they can go back, will they go back? Will some fans stay away?
What
I
about
think
the
you need to
travel
combine the
games? We've
two.
got thousands of people traveling to games, the trains, the walk to the ground. I don't understand how getting sprayed helps. What does it do?
It completely disinfects. So, say for example, you're on the train, right? You've got someone with COVID on the train who's
Yeah.
touched the handrail or the seat. They've
Yeah.
just gone off the train, and you've just gone on the train, and you're sat on that seat, and suddenly you've touched that seat. COVID can get on the skin, and that's how it can be done. So, obviously, when you're going into
So
that
what
disinfection
you're
thing,
saying is
anything that you've touched.
Now what? I've now got COVID. So how is that spray gonna?
No, because COVID has to go, it can't be absorbed through the skin. So, say you've touched your hands, and then you go in, say you touch your eyes, for example.
Yeah.
That's how COVID gets in the system. But if it's just on the hands, it won't get in your system unless you touch your
So
nose,
again, how
eyes,
does
or
that
mouth.
spray? That spray doesn't really stop it.
If it's on your, if it's on your
I-
hands, it should technically disinfect your hands.
I
Okay,
think the
technically.
rule should be
So
they've got this new test out, haven't they?
Hang
Sorry.
on, Dave, because I just need to know this, right? So we've both got right. So Dave's got COVID. I've not got COVID. We've both been
Yeah.
sprayed going into the ground. Now in the
Mhm.
ground, Dave's jumped on me, we've scored a goal or whatever, and then I've touched my eyes. Surely I've still got COVID now. Disinfected or not, like, I don't understand what it actually does.
So COVID can.
If
It's
it was that
mostly
simple, why is
air-based.
that not being used? Like it can't be. I don't understand how that would if you sneezed on me in the ground. I don't understand how that would stop. If that was
Yeah,
Well,
it's
you'd have to
the
wear a mask.
sneezing bit,
You
innit?
would
You'd have to wear a mask.
wear a mask.
Yeah.
You'd have to wear a mask. And
And
I
they
think
were all
any
doing
fan
that.
that was caught, any fan that's caught not wearing a mask should be removed straight away.
Hmm. I think it's a
Secondly,
big
they've
step
got these
forward. I
new.
don't think it's not the answer. It might be.
No, they've got the new tests out that say it takes an hour to get the result.
Mhm.
I think if fans are encouraged to turn up an hour before, take the test. I mean, to be honest, I think I'm surprised no one's invented it, and I think this is an armchair pundit premiere of my genius invention. So, COVID spread through air, isn't it? Through breathing on someone, sneezing on someone, coughing on someone, mostly.
Mostly. Yeah,
So
it is
why
airborne.
can't they do like a breathalyzer system for COVID, where you breathe on something and it bleeps if you've got it?
But if you've got it, yeah, but you've walked to the ground, you've potentially passed it on to 300 people.
But this is what I'm saying. Instead of doing that disinfectant thing, I mean, you just put this like breathalyzer thing where you breathe on it, and if it says you got COVID, I'm sorry, you don't come in.
But
I mean, everything they're doing is
done by then.
everything they're doing at the minute. Doing
but
this
you'd have
square
to
thing
set-
can only be a positive. Can
I
only
think
be a
you'd have to
positive.
set it up away from the ground. You'd have to set it up
Set
away
for
from the
fan
ground.
zone. Set for fan zone. You go there
Yeah.
first, and then you travel to the ground, or
I
you
feel
don't.
like you're missing my point. I feel like you're both missing my point at the minute.
Right, go on,
you get
explain
to
your
the fan
point.
zone, if you get to the fan zone, you get tested and you have COVID.
You've already
Okay,
spread
you
it.
don't go in, okay, whatever, you don't go into the ground, but you've already spreaded it. You've already travelled to the ground. You've already come into contact with hundreds of people.
Mm.
You've
Well,
The
then
only,
the only
other,
option-
the only other option is if they did it at, say, the car parks around. So you're staying in your car and you take it. You know, like they do the COVID test where you're not allowed to get out your car.
So what you're
I
saying
think
is
if
to
the-
go to a football game, you have to travel by
You have to
car.
travel by the car. It's not going to happen.
You have to.
The only thing they can do
Um,
then, Mitch, is we've got to wait for this vaccine to come out, and everyone's going to have this vaccine.
which is
That's-
potentially going to take another year at least.
Going back to the original point, when are people going to be allowed back in? Not this season. Not you got
No,
no,
and
no
to be
fans
honest,
this season.
it wouldn't surprise
At
me if
all.
it wasn't next either.
I can see it being probably halfway through next season if these vaccines come out.
Danny's
know-
put, or you could take the test a few days before, but like Mitch has said, you can take
You
the
can
test
still
an hour
catch it.
before.
You can still
But
catch
still
it as well.
catch
If
it,
you,
yeah.
I took a test today.
Um,
It might come past negative, but I might have caught it after I've done my test today. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've done a test today through work. Sent it off. How do I know I've not gone? I've been to Loros today. I could have touched something. I had gloves and anything, but I don't know. I could have touched something. I could have it right now, but my test result will come back negative.
So the Euros.
It's the vaccine.
Are we having fans at the Euros?
No, definitely
yes,
not. No,
I think
too
they will.
much international travel.
But how does that happen then, Dave?
Because the Euros ain't in England and other countries have started slowly bringing fans back. This country is so behind. at the moment.
The finals
I think-
at Wembley, mate. The finals at Wembley.
Yeah, the finals at Wembley, but the other games ain't.
All of England's group games are at Wembley, are they
Yeah,
not?
they are. Yeah, going to say. So you're telling me you're going to
What
stop
I'm
England
saying
fans
is,
travelling?
What about when Germany face Portugal? That's not Wembley.
No, but we're talking about England, though, aren't we? Really?
No, you
England
said,
fans-
"Oh,
England
are
fans
they
will
going to
travel.
fans of Euros?"
Yeah, would it be fans of Euros? Maybe there might be fans at other games, but England's games.
Yeah.
Of the Euros. When are we
Um,
going to be able to go back to watch our teams? England, club level, whatever it might be.
Sadly, when
We
COVID's
can't even
under
go to
control,
Wales,
when it's
which is
under
gonna be-
control, they'll be
which
allowed
is going
back
to
in
be
fans.
you're going to be about another year, definitely. This vaccine that's coming out, yes, it's brilliant, and yes, it's working, but they need to get it rolled out to the millions. The first people are going to be the vulnerable people. Football fans will be back at queue.
Before lockdown, my local team here now is Bracknell Town, and they've got a capacity of about 500. And they had an FA Cup game recently where there was about 430 people turn up. That is allowed. Yet a stadium that holds 20,000, whatever it might be, can't have 500 fans in. But my local team can have 500 fans in.
I mean, I think
I
another
don't get- I
question
don't
as
get
well is, yeah, no, I don't get that. I think, but the problem is how do you decide what 500 fans go?
Put them in a hat, draw them out, season ticket holders. To be fair, there was
because
talk
these
of
then-
it.
holders are still paying their money per month. They're still paying it.
There was
per
talk of it a long time ago, and it never happened. When they said that they were going to bring back 10% capacity, 20% capacity, and you can social different. Old Trafford's huge, 75,000 people. You're telling me you can't have 20,000 people in a socially distance? Yeah, of course you can. Wembley, of course
Do you
can.
think?
It's the risk. It's the risk of getting them there in the first place.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
until
the
that's
million
under
dollar
control-
question is, when a football ground's going to be at full capacity?
It's not going to be for ages. That's going to be 3-4 years down the line. They'll phase them back in slowly, and I think they should let lower league clubs first because these guys need to survive. They need the fans. Most Premier League clubs can survive. How long for? Who knows? The quicker, better we get back. But lower league clubs, you look at your Mansfields and your Berries. Who's next? Who's next? It's only a matter of time for somebody's going to go under. Somebody's going to go under because of this.
Stick that
Oh
back
yeah,
up, Dave.
it won't be long. There we go.
I read about this on my lunch break today, and I just thought, how has this been allowed to happen? It's crazy.
But like you said, he might have had the test and he came back negative,
Yeah, he could have done.
and someone at the hotel could have passed him his bags. Boom.
That's it.
Got it.
Jobs are good. Not taking precautions.
Beth and Thomas here. There's no way to 100% confirm that no one there has COVID unless the country has 0 cases. The likelihood would be social distancing, test beforehand, and face masks. Look at the policies for concerts, COVID-19 vaccine, or negative results dated within 3 days of the. I presume that's this evening.
Yeah.
Event. Sorry.
I think football's been hard done by. I mean, the snooker, they had fans in. So,
Do you think? Yeah,
they had
but
fans
I'm
in
not
for the
being funny,
final.
but when Ronnie O'Sullivan pots a black, everyone at snooker doesn't start jumping up, cheering, hugging, and kissing each other, do they?
Yeah, and I feel like
I mean, it'd be
has been-
hilarious if it did.
Yeah.
I think we're looking. I think we're looking at least another year down the line before we're looking at any fans being allowed back in Premier League grounds.
I'll tell you the way we'll judge it, because I think rugby will do it first, and I think they're going to monitor probably rugby and see how that gets on.
Yeah,
sport
smaller
like rugby.
stadiums.
That will cause a major problem with football fans. Okay, a lot of football fans are also rugby fans as well. I'm not. I don't really like rugby, and that would piss me off massively if there were fans at Leicester Tigers, but 100 metres down the road, I can't go watch my football club play.
Yeah,
That's an
it is,
argument for
and
the
I
day.
think-
Innit? Rugby and football is never gonna see eye to eye, are they? But it's
I
got to be
mean-
trialled out somewhere. It's got to be trialled out somewhere. Cricket, you could say, argue the same thing. Like cricket people again. And I
Yeah,
can't
but
stand
football
cricket.
is right. So football it's the fans are so much more in contact with each other than say in other sports.
Okay, so football and boxing go hand in hand.
Yeah, I was about to say boxing. The only thing that really goes hand in hand with football is probably boxing, and arguably probably darts, because they're all rowdy and everything.
Oh, darts. Yeah, they just get hammered. They just
But the
get drunk.
difference between boxing,
Chuck beer around.
football, darts, the difference is boxing and darts, not all the time, but are mostly indoor arenas compared to football, which is technically outside. That's the only
I've never
difference.
seen darts played outside.
No.
You can't
Can you
you?
imagine
Wind
it?
affecting it all sorts. Imagine darts.
So anyway, to summarize on this topic, I think we can all safely say that we haven't got a clue, but it's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately.
Not this season. Not this season.
I
reckon
think
this time
it'll probably
next year.
be.
This time
Nah,
next
I
year.
think it'll be.
Darts is being done at home via Zoom. Is that true? Am I being naive?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think.
Can't be.
No, they
I
have had two people. They had Phil Taylor and Raymond van Barneveld recreating one of the World Finals, but they did it at home.
Bloody hell.
Playing
I
against each
think
other.
you're
It's
going to
well
look
funny. It's well
at.
funny.
You're going to look at possibly 10% capacity when the vaccine's out. I think they'll monitor that. If it goes well, 25, then possibly 50, then probably 75, and then 100. I think we are years away from 100.
And I think lower league clubs need to be prioritised. Personally,
Yeah, I agree with that.
You don't
I
want to see
100%
it. You don't want to
agree
see
with that.
any club going under. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that at all.
Anyway, we'll move on, Dave. At the beginning of the week, I'll come up with a few ideas. I really wanted to bring the debates back. I'll come up with a few ideas. Martin said he wanted to be involved. I messaged Martin with my ideas, and he came back to me with a topic of his own. And I'll hand over to Martin because he explained it brilliantly.
So I'm going to go for, originally it was just football clubs, rags to riches, back again sometimes. They go from rags to riches, back down again. But I thought, well, that kind of narrows it down to just your club. It's a bit difficult. So I'll throw a few players in there as well, by all means. Who's made it to the big time from nowhere? And vice versa. Who's gone the other way? And who's done both? Who's gone up to the top and back down again? I'll start you off with Wimbledon. What a story. For me, you can keep your Leicester City winning. You can keep your Leicester City winning the Football League and the Premier League. Sorry, Wimbledon. These guys were a bunch of, for want of a better word, they were a bunch of drunks. Back in the day, back in the 80s, where people could just, they didn't train. They went out pub. That's how they trained. But them guys, your Vinnie Joneses, your Laurie Sanchez's, your John Fashionews, your Dave Bessants, these people would run through a brick wall for Bobby Gould, and they did it. They ran through that brick wall. The match against Liverpool in the FA Cup, memorable for all the wrong reasons for me. Dave Bessant, first person to say a penalty. They should never have won that game. Never in the memory of man.
No.
But what they did do, and what they did all throughout their cup run, they got the result when it mattered. And then it started to go Pete Tong for them. Absolutely Pete Tong for them. And quite rightly, when they went bust, it was a bad day when they went bust. And quite rightly, the fans didn't follow them. Your true diehard fans didn't follow them. They split up. They made AFC Wimbledon. And like Andy just put up there now, they're back at Flower Lane after all this time. And they're not doing that bad. They've come from nowhere again. Who knows? Who knows where they're going to be, their future. But Wimbledon for me, as much as I hated them back then as a 13-year-old kid, you look back now and the quality out of that squad, technically wise, was crap. But for passion and for pure get that job done, die for your team, Wimbledon for me, all day long.
I mean, they're currently 11th in League One,
mid-table,
which is funny because they are currently, I think they are currently above the team that replaced them, MK Dons.
There you go. The turn of the circle.
And I think that there is a success in its own.
The fact that
they're above the team that replaced them.
But they fell there. They rose up to the heights of when the FA Cup meant something. Because let's face it, it don't mean much now. But back then, that cup meant everything. Everybody wanted to win the FA Cup. Everybody wanted to walk them stairs and lift the FA Cup, and they did it. Vinnie Jones. There you go, Vinnie Jones. People don't even remember Vinnie Jones. You ask a 15-year-old now who Vinnie Jones is. They say he's an actor.
Yeah.
They say he's an actor. That's it. They don't know him as a footballer. And let's face it, he weren't gifted, but neither was anybody. Smallest bloke on pitch, I think, scored past us. Dennis Wise, for God's sake, started at Wimbledon. He went on to Chelsea and look what he did. Wimbledon, they bred a lot of good players. But yeah, just what a story for me. What a story. Love him. Love it.
I'm presuming Mitch is going to come up with Jamie Vardy.
Listen, I'm not
He
here to
told me
do
he
that.
wouldn't. He told me he
I'm,
wouldn't.
yeah, I'm not here to do that. I mean, everybody knows
No,
that
no, no.
story.
Why not? At the end of the day, when it comes to rags to riches, he's pretty much the current poster boy of it.
Yeah, but who doesn't know that
He is.
story?
True.
I don't need to sit here and explain that path that he's came on. Everybody knows it.
I mean, for me, I would have to pick from rags to riches. I'd have to go for Cristiano Ronaldo. The guy was living in poverty. But saying that, so was a lot of African players. You look at Sadio Mane, you look at Yaya Toure. A lot of African players were from
A lot of
rags
South
in
Americans as
footballs.
well. You message in your
Yeah.
Suarez. They come from the gutter. That's they cut the teeth playing football on streets. Literally jumpers for goalposts.
Yeah.
Well, that club wise,
Mitch,
Dave. Who's your club, mate? I've got two other clubs that fell from grace but have come back big time. I've got two.
For me, I've got one, and I wouldn't even say it's rags to riches. I just love the story that they've come on, and I hope it
probably
continues.
Leeds.
It's not Leeds, mate.
I thought it was going to go Leeds.
I had a conversation the other night with Paul actually about this team because they played last weekend and they got battered, but it's not rags to riches because they haven't hit that riches yet, but I'm sure they will do. It's a club that was established in 2005 and it's FC United of Manchester. Those sort of fan clubs that are run by the fans. I mean, it's everything that we're doing with this page. This is a page for the fans and it's by the fans. That's a club that it's by the fans. And I just feel like from between 2005 to 2015, they rose through the leagues. They did amazing. But now it's calmed down a little bit. And I hope they do get there eventually. But a little bit like Salford, but Salford have bought their way up.
Can they survive this pandemic, though? That's the problem with these clubs. Can they survive these pandemics?
If we're talking about Salford, they can survive.
Salford can.
Yeah.
Salford can. They've got financial backing.
I think one of my favourite stories.
Yeah.
One of my favourite stories was a club they were riches, and then they got down to rags, and they got saved. Literally, I mean, they got relegated. Everything. They literally got saved by their rival team. Anybody have an idea what I'm on about?
Are they in this country?
No.
Juventus.
No. Borussia Dortmund.
Rangers. Dortmund.
No, Dortmund.
Yeah.
They were minutes away from literally going out of business, and Bayern Munich bailed them out.
Yeah, they still hate each other.
At the time. Well, no, I think there's a bit of respect there. I mean, Dortmund went on to win the Champions League, as you know. I think it was 1998. I think, and then they went completely bust. They got relegated the next season. I think that was possibly one of the only teams to win the Champions League and then get relegated the next season. Lost all their money. They played a couple of seasons in the Bundesliga too. About to get literally what happened to Wimbledon, and Bayern Munich bailed them out. And I'm only bringing this up because I think with the situation with COVID at the moment, I think there's a lot of teams in league, anything from Championship below, even Championship possibly, that's going to need Premier League clubs to do that, to save them. And can you imagine? You imagine someone like Portsmouth about to go out of business and Southampton saving them.
Portsmouth nearly did, mate.
Well, yeah, they very nearly did. Coventry, the same, very nearly. Yeah. And I think it's nice to hear that someone as big as Bayern Munich, who, let's be honest, would have walked the German league every single season if they hadn't saved Dortmund.
But then why didn't Celtic do that with Rangers and help them out? Massive rivalry there.
Because it's a business.
It's British.
It's not
every
even
man
that
for themselves in Britain.
Honestly, it's a business at the end of the day. And yeah, okay, you might get the odd story here and there of rivals saving each other, but take it away from football. Would Morrison's give Tesco money to survive?
No. They'd be
no, they wouldn't.
It's a business.
Yeah, it is a business. You're completely right in what you say. But it's not a business to the fans.
100% it's not. You can say that about loyal shoppers.
It's a business fan to the owners, but it's not a business to the fans.
What about the shoppers that love shopping at Tesco? Never shopped anywhere else.
I think I think it was
So-
just, it was nice to see. It was nice.
I'm gonna throw in here Juventus. What's your thoughts here now? For me, well. Let's hear your thoughts now, and I'll go in my thoughts about Juventus.
Okay, they got relegated for cheating, so ain't being funny. They got everything that they deserved.
Thank you very
You
much.
cheat, you
That's
bend the
exactly
rules.
what I was going to
If
say.
you cheat and you bend the rules, you need to be punished.
But they've come back again, and they've come back and doing it. Hopefully, doing it the right way. I mean, I still think Italian football is probably still corrupt. Who knows? But yeah, Juventus for me deserved everything they've got. Everything they've got. You don't cheat and get away with it. You can't be corrupt.
Someone's put, how's the AA meeting going, lads? It's going good.
Rangers I felt sorry for in Scotland. That was no fault of one. That was just badly run the business into the floor, and they get booted completely out of Scottish League. But now look, they've come back, and thank God, because let's face it, Scottish League. People say, well, Rangers and Celtic doing it in Premier League. For me, no, they wouldn't. But Rangers are needed in that league.
Celtic and Rangers would get relegated.
Not
no,
good
they're
for
too right. But
Celtic
Celtic need Rangers in that Premier League in Scotland as much as Rangers need Celtic. And when Rangers weren't in it, you may as well not have bothered. But Rangers again,
No.
they fell from glory. They've hit rock bottom, and they're potentially back on the way up to glory again. Fair play to them.
From riches to rags, Nottingham Forest.
What's that, Mitch?
From riches to rags, Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
I wouldn't say rags.
Come on.
I think
they're going to be League One next season.
Yeah, they probably are going to be, but I wouldn't say League One is rags.
From where they've been, mate.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But, I mean...
But you mentioned Nottingham Forest, and you mentioned Nottingham Forest, you automatically think, Brian Clough, 2 back-to-back Champions League, whatever you want, European Cup, whatever you call it, automatically think that. You will automatically think that, unless you're of a younger age, then you're just going to think, Championship fodder.
But even the younger people, I'll be surprised if they don't know about that story, because
they should do. They support Nottingham Forest. They bloody well should do.
Same as Liverpool in their history. Before that Premier League win, all you banged on about was, how many Division 1 titles it was.
Champions Leagues as well.
5 Champions.
I know that's a foreign subject to you, Mitch. But yeah, we won a tournament called the Champions League, or the European Cup, if you will.
Great shout, Andy. Bolton.
Yeah, Bolton
Wanderers. Matty. Club close to my
Brazilian
heart.
team Corinthians. They nearly went bust. Former world champions.
Didn't want the Argentinian clubs at all. Was it either River Plate or Boca Juniors? One of them two. I was thinking one of the Argentinian clubs. Yeah,
and then obviously you've got to think of clubs that went to disaster. I mean, Man United practically lost most of their team in the Munich air accident, and that is almost sending them into rags. They basically didn't have a team. And okay, it wasn't a situation that lasted long. It was a horrible situation. I won't wish it on anyone. But until they recovered, I mean, that was an awful situation for the club.
I might be wrong here, Dave. But you just mentioned about Bayern Munich bailing Dortmund out. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, that other clubs back when the Munich disaster, they give them their players. They give them their fringe players just to help them through. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure who the clubs involved were. I think Liverpool may have been one of them. Horrible thing to happen. You don't want to see that happen to anybody. And that, for that to happen, that was massive. You don't, imagine that nowadays. Imagine if plane crash nowadays and took a club out. Would other clubs give their players?
I mean, you look at the effect it had on Leicester when their chairman passed away. It was such a sad moment, not just for Leicester fans. I mean, it was especially for Leicester fans. But it did bring almost the country together because of what that man achieved. Mm-hmm. And you imagine losing a whole team. I mean, let's be honest. It's good that Leicester's chairman's son was such passionate for Leicester, because he could have easily walked away.
He could have. Fair play to his son. He could have walked off and just said, what, there's too many memories here now, I'm gone. And where would Leicester be then? Where would Leicester be? Where would Leicester be if he walked away? Where would they have been?
Yeah, it's not very often I praise Leicester, but I think the way that club is run, honestly,
fantastic.
I think a lot of teams could learn from it. I generally do.
Oh, mate, best in the league in terms of ownership.
Without
I mean,
No, I'd give it without
Well,
doubt.
who
You
else,
can't
Dave?
have United, you can't have Liverpool. Liverpool are run very well at the minute, but they're not run by people who are passionate.
Yeah,
Liverpool
I
are run by
think
Americans who care more about
community-wise,
baseball.
yeah. I mean, community-wise, Leicester's chairman's a second to none. What they've done for the community. The only exception I would say is probably Mike Ashley.
Oh, come on.
I'm winding you up. Anyone who's watching that, I'm completely unjoking. Like, sorry, I am joking, unless you're a Newcastle fan. And
Few
then
other
I just wind you up.
Newcastle fans will be on in a minute. Are you taking the
Yeah. Are you taking that piss? Why, aye, man?
Well, it is-
Newcastle fans loved Mike Ashley. I think they're
Oh,
just putting
yeah.
the front on.
That's it. Ashley in. Yeah, I've got feel sorry for Newcastle. I like Newcastle.
The Brazilian club that lost their players a few years ago. Yes, they actually was awarded their version of the Champions League by the other team.
They were.
They were.
Called began with C, didn't they? What they were called? Began with C. Can't remember the name.
Oh, Jesus. Who were they?
Oh, I know it.
Someone
Yeah.
Google. Someone Google. That's going to do me head in. remember.
Chapecoense.
That's him. Something like that.
Yeah, Chapecoense.
Yeah, there was.
something like that.
That's
I
it.
think they were meant to be playing. Might have been River Plate in the final. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on it. And the other team basically said, you know what? Give
Have it.
them the title. They didn't even play the game. They just gave it them, which
Yeah.
is fair enough. Also, Ronaldinho played for them for the first year, absolutely free, no wages whatsoever.
Yeah.
So what we're saying here is, if we just wipe Leicester City out this season, can Liverpool have the Premier League?
Just quickly,
I mean,
just humour me. Just
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Go
Okay,
on.
just
Joking, by the
humour
way.
me.
I'm joking.
All Leicester title contenders.
Yes.
100%.
Really?
I
But then
think,
again-
you know what?
And again, at the minute, anyone pretty much top six could be potential title contender. The way this season is
I've-
going, who knows?
I've said multiple times that the top six this season, you're going to have two teams in there that in past seasons you would have never thought would be a top six team. That's how weird this season is. If Aston Villa got top six, wouldn't surprise me. The way this season is going.
Dave, man.
No. All I'm saying is this season, there is so many strange results. Wolves, is it their year to break in top six? Now let's just go back to Leicester.
Mate.
Leicester had a
Wolves
breakdown last
finished
year. If
sixth
they hadn't
last
have had that
season,
breakdown,
the season before.
if Leicester hadn't have had that breakdown last season, they would have been top four, 100%. And it was almost a freak event that they didn't make top four. Leicester are a team now that your teams like Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool are having to keep an eye on. Because then, like I said earlier, Leicester are not a mid-table team anymore. They
It's
are
going to be
top
interesting
six.
for Leicester, though, at the minute, because they've got this Europa League and you're playing lots of games. And when you qualify for this one, you still got to play lots of games because your Champions League dropouts come down and join you. So it's this Europa League is going to be the big one. If they can get through them unscathed, no injuries, keep thereabouts, I think I don't think it's going to be a straight cut like last season. Obviously, Liverpool just walked it, no problem at all. This season, I reckon you're not going to know this season clear cut who's going to finish top six until probably, I reckon, you're looking probably at end of Feb, beginning of March. You'll start to say these guys now that's the top six are going to finish that top six in some kind of order. And
you know what? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if you had 2 games left of the season and there's still 5 teams that could win it.
It might go down to the wire
Wouldn't
again.
surprise
It might go down to the wire again.
me. Mitch,
go all the way.
what's that?
Dave, if Leicester are a top 6 team, who's not?
Man U. At the moment, Arsenal are certainly not a top 6 team anymore. I know you disagree with that, Mitch, but
I disagree with that.
Well, what was the last time they finished top 6?
Mate, this season they're going to finish top 6. They won the FA Cup last season. They beat Liverpool.
You said that you thought Arsenal would win the league this year.
Yeah, no, 100%. I still believe that.
What, you still think Arsenal are going to win the league?
Yeah, mate, I believe that.
This is the Mitch Noble serious debate show, by the way.
It's a serious show, but you're baiting me out right now, Dave.
No, I'm not baiting you out. All I'm saying is, I'm not baiting you out. The point is, Arsenal, for me, are not a top 6 side anymore. They're not. And judging by this season, they're not going to be this season either. I think...
What about Chelsea?
Yeah, I think Chelsea are top 6 side. 100%.
I mean, okay,
let's get rid of the obvious one. So Liverpool top 6, Man City top 6. There's your obvious ones gone. Chelsea, for me, top 6.
I've got to stick Leicester in top 6.
Yeah, you've got
Leicester's
to.
gotta
You,
be
I
top.
can't
You've gotta
see.
stick
I
Leicester in
genuinely
them.
can't see any other team. I think Tottenham will finish top 6. And I think Leicester, regarding 6th position, you know what? Honestly, it could be anyone. Could be
Pretty
anyone.
much.
Have you got your Christmas trees up yet?
No.
Mitch, that real is that? Are you having a laugh?
Yeah, mate. I put my tree up.
He
last
put on
weekend.
the admin group about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
A poll or something last week or something.
It's November.
I mean, I'm just gonna
You need
Right.
to get your trees up. It's that time of
I'm
year.
just
12
going to have
days
a quick look at the
12
Premier League
days before,
table.
12 days after. It's November.
Bit
We've
of
just
tinsel
gone
for the
past-
mirror.
We've just gone past Armistice Day and you're putting your tree up. What are you doing?
You've got to get.
You don't
your
need to put it up
Christmas
for all
tree.
the fallen, you know. You don't need to put it up for. You wear poppies for that.
You put it up in November. You take it down in February, mid-February.
You must have young kids, Mitch. Have you got young kids?
Not here. Eight here. My kids live in Leicester.
Mate, tree up in November. Oof. That's a shocker. It's a shocker. I can't get my head around that one. What's Dave looking at? Table.
I'm just looking at the teams people have played.
Anyone can go 6th. Anyone can go 6th. Anybody.
I mean, let's just.
How
You
close
mentioned
is it?
Arsenal.
How close is it from 6th to 17th position? How close is it?
Okay,
points-wise.
so 15th. A lot. 11.
Yeah, about 12. I'd have said.
But we've got, if results go the certain way, 9th could go up to 4th.
Who's top?
I'm
Dave?
just
Who's top? That would be Leicester City.
Oh right.
I'm
No.
still going for you're going to be looking at end of Feb, beginning of March before you realise who your top 6 going to be. I'm hoping Liverpool can stay in the mix. I'm hoping they can. You know, injuries aside, I'm hoping we can. If we're there or thereabouts, we're going to have a massive shout in it. Win it. Don't know. We can.
I mean,
don't know whether they can win it or
Andrew's just said Man U. Who's Man U played so far? Let's just have a look at Man U's fixtures, okay?
Yeah,
Lost to Palace.
Andrew's not said.
They
Man
beat.
U. The
Oh,
top
that
six
everyone
that everyone
claims.
claims.
Yeah, that's the big 6, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you think that we're gonna eventually, because it was originally top 4 and then it moved into top 6? Do you think we're gonna go back to top 4 again? People are gonna say the top 4 again rather than the top 6.
I thought we was talking
Not
about
for a
top
while.
2 only a few weeks back.
I
We
mean,
were,
top
yeah.
4 wise, you've got Liverpool, Man City, and other than that, anyone's guess.
Well, then again, you've got to put Leicester in there because they've won the Premier League within the last 5 or 6 seasons, so you've got to put them in there. They're a top 4 side if you're going by the last few
So have
seasons.
Chelsea.
I think-
So have Chelsea.
So have Chelsea.
But no, but
So
I don't
I
rate
think-
Chelsea.
So there's your top 4 because Tottenham fall away, Arsenal fall away.
No, I mean, no disrespect to Leicester, but they've finished top 4 once in the last few seasons.
Mm.
In
Ever.
fact, how many times have Leicester finished top 4 in the Premier League?
Once.
So they're not top 4 side. But before Mitch shouts at me, the way they're going, it's only going to be a matter of time. The way they're going, it's not a case of if, it's a case of
And
when.
you've got your new training facility opening up soon. That's only going to be boding well for your future.
Speaking of new training facility, Liverpool opened theirs today.
It did. Yeah, it did. Long
looks
live
good.
Melwood.
Talk to me about new training facilities.
Long live
£100
Melwood.
million we've spent on ours.
Yes,
100
but
million
how's yours?
We spent half that. You've got 11 pitches. What's all 11 pitches for?
One for each
11
player.
pitches.
We have got
I think
the
so, isn't it?
best-
Talk about social distancing. Jesus
I'm
Christ.
talking
taking the
facts
mick.
now. We have got the best training facility in the entire world.
Yeah, but
Coming up.
it's not got one thing that Liverpool's has.
Trophy cabinet.
Well, two things. Firstly of all, have you got a James Milner
That's not.
entrance? We have.
Right.
Did you know that, Martin? Our front door to the new
didn't
training
know
facility is called the James Milner
Is
entrance.
it? Oh, that's quality.
And secondly, have you got a European Cup in yours?
Nope, not yet. We'll do it end of the season.
Yeah, Europa League's a tin pot cup, mate. It's the St Johnson's
Oh,
Paint
don't
Trophy of
diss that
European
one,
football.
Dave. If you win that, mate, you get into Champions League. I can't have that being dissed.
Leicester are getting Champions League football this year, even if they don't win Europa League. I'm telling you now, Leicester are getting Champions League football without winning.
You know, just going back to this, like when we're going to let fans back in, I'm going to make a massive prediction here. It's going to be 3 or 4 years' time. Like Liverpool are going to win the league for the next 3 or 4 years because we can't have
And then not win it
nobody
again.
will see it. And then the year after, that's it. We're done. We're done. We'll never win it again for like 30 years. We'll never win it again for 30 years. But nobody will going to see Liverpool lift the trophy. It's just the way Liverpool goes. It's been a history, guaranteed.
Right.
I'll still brag about it.
On that note, we're going to end the show. It's been a good one. I've enjoyed doing the debate.
Yes, it's been a good show. I've enjoyed it.
And I didn't swear.
And guys, there's one thing that we can learn from this show more than anything else.
Mitch isn't deluded. Is it Mitch isn't deluded?
Mitch can speak sense.
He can.
When he puts his mind to it.
He can. It's took him a week to build up to this.
I came here. I've done no research or anything. I just taught football. I love football, so I just taught football. No research. Coming straight into
I don't
it.
do stats, mate. I hate stats. I hate people who chuck stats around. I can't be doing with it. This stat, that stat. The only stat what matters to me is who won. That's it. Who won? 95% at ball. I don't care. We still beat you 1-0.
I don't know
All
what
that proves is you got 95%. Just means you can't score past us. If we win 1-0, that's all I'm bothered about.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, all these stats get chucked around. Statos, no.
Right. Thank you for coming on, Martin. Thanks for coming on, Dave.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, mate. We've been the Armchair Pundits. I hope you all have a good weekend. England v Belgium on Sunday. We'll maybe do a
Pull
preview.
my
or
eyes out
something.
with spoons.
Any idea what the subjects are next week?
Come on,
I gave you one yesterday. I gave you one yesterday, Dave.
Why are you giving Dave subjects for my show?
No, I offered it to Dave. I said if you want a topic, here you go. And he said I'll bear it in mind. So if he's struggling for topics and whatnot, I can pass it on to you, Mitch. Can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
Just do me a favour, Martin. Just do me a favour, yeah. Just you see that ticker that's going across the bottom of the screen.
I can see that.
What does it say?
The Mitch Noble Sometimes Serious Debate Show.
Right, and you're passing on topics to Dave now.
No, it was only for his gaffer's gaff. I said if he wants it, but I'll pass it on to you, mate. If you want it, I'm open to it. I can't remember what it was. What was that thing I said to you yesterday, Dave? What you could have as your topic? Oh, that's it. Premier League players. Where are they now?
I can't remember what it was now.
Ex-Premier League players. Where are they now? So
yeah,
and that goes for
that's
people
not
retired.
really for a debate show, is it? I mean,
no, it's for Gaffer's Gaff. That one.
I think
that's it.
Next
There you
week,
go. That's
Mitch,
why. That's why.
Mitch, just an idea for your show. If you're on about a debate, I think that a Liverpool Leicester debate next Friday has to happen.
That'll turn into an argument.
I don't know what you mean though. Like, you can't just do a Liverpool Leicester debate. Like, what you're debating?
Yeah, about what? Because you can't say who's got the best history, who's the bigger club. Because it's not a debate, is it?
Right,
Yeah,
come
no.
on.
You'd have to have something to debate
Or
about.
who's got the best goalkeeper?
It's
All
Kepa.
right, Mitch. See you out, pal. Right, that was the Mitch Noble debate show, ladies and gentlemen. See you later. Good night.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Take care.